Hello, this is Donald Jenkins, your Master Purpose Development Coach and the CEO of the Purpose Development Institute in Atlanta, Georgia. And I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to participate in my Truth Behind a Dysfunctional Leader presentation. And you're going to find this to be a mini presentation because toward the end of this presentation, I want to be able to extend to you a discovery call in which we can discuss further the things that I'm going to unpack within this presentation as well. So let's start with the very important thought that's going to set the tone for what those dysfunctions are when it comes to the leaders within your organization. And it declares that the power of a leader is hidden in the ability to close the personal growth gap. Yep, through research, we understand now that every leader, we have a personal growth gap. And I'm sure that you've heard this statement on many occasions, and that is there's always room to grow. But it's one thing to say that, but it's another thing to be able to identify what does that room look like. And that's what we become the experts in here at the Purpose Development Institute. We understand how to identify what that room look like. What are the components that make up the personal growth gap? And how can we begin to implement strategies so that now that gap can become the leader's biggest opportunity instead of their greatest demise? Because without closing that personal growth gap, that gap is going to become their biggest demise, which is going to equate to dysfunctional attitudes and behaviors within your organization. So a little bit about our company is that we are a think tank with 35 years working with leaders to leverage the strength that comes from purpose to close the personal growth gap. And again, closing the personal growth gap requires specialized skills, and those skills are identified as the strength that comes from purpose. Now, it's a radical shift from what you traditionally think about purpose in regards to your passion and what you're able to do with your gifts and talents. In other words, purpose has another side to it that unpacks, the insight, the body of knowledge that allow leaders to strengthen their attitudes and behaviors to close down that personal growth gap so that now they can eliminate those dysfunctional attitudes and behavior. So our research in the role of purpose in career advancement help us to discover the two layers of talent development. Now, I'm sure that you probably have only heard of one layer, and it's important for us to be able to identify what those two layers are because it's going to give you a pictorial diagram as to where those dysfunctions lie within the leaders within your organization. Now, on the first layer, this is where we help employees work together. We engage in soft skill training such as listening, empathy, communication, and the list go on and on. And I'm sure that you've engaged in this type of training throughout your career. This training is something that's conducted on a regular basis, and we have coined it as those soft skills that will allow us to work together. But we understand through our research that there is a second layer when it comes to talent development. And on the second layer, this is where we grow together. And you're going to find out that it's at the second layer where those dysfunctions begin to germinate or originate within attitudes and behavior. Even though we're doing a lot of things on the first layer to mitigate those attitudes and behaviors, dysfunctional attitudes and behaviors, but we can really increase our efficacy of eliminating those dysfunctions by doing work on the second layer, where there are 8 decision categories that every leader within your organization make, and those 8 decision categories are responsible for how they improve themselves. It's responsible for how they grow beyond their personality. And this is extremely important because these are the roots that support the soft skills that you see on the first layer. So what happens on the first layer is that many times employees engage in what we call the check the box experience, specifically in regards to training such as diversity, equity, and inclusion. Many times when we conduct these types of training, first thing that employees tell us, not again. Do we have to go through this again? In other words, it's just a check off, activity that they engage in instead of them really checking their heart. So checking the box, occurs regularly on the first layer, but checking the heart occurs on the second layer. So when we check the heart, then it causes a higher buy-in to the trainings that you are implementing on the first layer, which increases the return on investment for your organization. So this is the reason why it's important for you to understand the importance of doing second layer work, because there are a lot of risks here that are involved at the roots that exist within every organization, including yours. And I'll certainly look forward to being able to unpack that with you in our free discovery call. So here's a testimony of an individual that we had an opportunity to begin this second layer work within the organization. A gentleman by the name of Corey Thomas, Chief Diversity Officer here in the Metro Atlanta area. And here's what he stated. He said, after administering and unpacking the Intuitive Growth Performance Assessment, in other words, now we're able to collect data on that second layer. Not too much data is collected on that first layer, but on that second layer, it opens your organization up to a tremendous amount of data that drives their KPIs and put your organization in a better position to get a higher return on their investment. He stated, our executive team had a major breakthrough, and that's what I am guaranteeing you, is that your organization, your team, will have a major breakthrough in understanding the behaviors that lead to unhealthy root systems. See, it's at the root where those dysfunctional attitudes and behavior occur. And now your team, your executive team or leaders within your organization, then they'll be able to identify what those dysfunctional attitudes and behaviors are that's contributing to the unhealthy root system. And you understand the importance of having healthy root system, because if the root systems are not healthy, then it's going to be difficult for your culture, your organization to grow according to the goals that you're setting for your organization. So he stated that we achieved in a short period what we struggled to do for years. And that's what I want to be able to help your organization do, achieve in a very short period of time what you have struggled with for years. So make sure that you set up that free discovery call, and let's talk about what those struggles are. What the struggles are that you're having with your leaders, and how we can customize a solution, whether it be through speaking, training, or coaching, to be able to help your leaders have a breakthrough in that second layer work, because that's where the breakthrough occur. We're doing some great things on the first layer, and I want to commend you for the first layer work, but the breakthrough when it comes to talent development occurs on the second layer. So again, a healthy root system produces happy leaders. So I look forward to being able to hop on a call with you or Zoom, and let's discuss how we can help your leaders clean out their root system so that now they can be happy and they can produce a happy culture. Look forward to working with you.